Good evening. Lloydminster RCMP have charged an additional 3 men following a drug-connected home invasion from 3 months ago. Now, early in the morning of February 28th, Mounties were called to a home in the city southwest. A few days later, police charged Chester Littlewolf of Onion Lake. Now, 23-year-old Harold Fleming and Fabian Littlewolf, along with 18-year-old Blake Dillon, all of Onion Lake, are facing numerous charges. Lawful confinement and possession of a weapon dangerous to the public are among the alleged offenses. The 3 men are scheduled to appear in court in early June. Walking to school every day used to be the normal routine for older generations, but a new report gives Canadian youth a D in active transportation. In this week's Healthy Living, Anna Stanislaw explains what parents can do to help their children curb unhealthy habits and encourage physical activity.
Active Healthy Kids Canada says 62% of Canadian youth aged 5 to 17 use inactive modes of transportation, meaning they either take the bus or are driven to and from school.
I think it's quite sad as a member of In Motion and as a parent that we're not getting our kids more active. Having said that, it didn't surprise me, but at the same time, it's sad for our kids and for our families that that's where we're at with physical activity.
Well, I believe it's part of our society now. We transport our kids everywhere. The cities are bigger. In Lloydminster, students can't always walk to where they want to go for their activities, so we do see parents transporting a lot.
According to In Motion, children and teens need at least 60 minutes of physical activity every day, and there are various ways to promote active transportation. Instead of dropping your child off right at the front of the school, drop them off at the other end of the parking lot. And she says to keep sports equipment like a frisbee or beach ball in your car to play with your kids. You can also walk them to school once or twice a week.
I have a kindergartner and he really likes walking to and from school. We like to walk or bike to and from daycare. Encourage them to go out on the play structure when we get home and play for 10 or 15 minutes.
Crease says once they arrive in their new facility, she hopes to encourage more students to walk to school.
In the past, we've encouraged a walking school bus, so you can have one parent that meets a group of students and they walk down, if it's 6 or 7 blocks. Sometimes parents don't want their children to walk that far on their own without supervision. So groups of parents could collaborate together.
Families can also speak to their school communities for more options.
Often students who are, struggling, whether it's academically, socially, behaviorally, sometimes getting them involved in an outside activity that gives them more physical activity can change the whole outlook for that child. So it's absolutely important and imperative.
Anna Stanislaw, Newcap News.
A high school education is one of the most important first steps to a student's future, and the Lakeland Catholic School District is taking learning to another level. As Clayton Brown explains, the school district was recently recognized with an award for its tireless work of improving each student's learning environment.
Many people may think the key to success in school is attending class, and to an extent, you're right. But the Lakeland Catholic School District is working hard to step beyond that and make each student's learning experience the best it can be.
Inclusive education is more than just having a child included in the classroom. It's actually having them participate and changing the environment for the child so that they all can be successful academically.
For the past 2 years, the school district has been working with an independent consultant to help each teacher learn how to properly engage each student.
Our teachers are excellent. They've got great strategies and they've got great skill, but it's about finding the right one that works. So we've been able to identify what supports are needed from our teachers, and so that we know that our children are actually having the curriculum delivered to them the way that they need to.
The school district was recently recognized by the Canadian and Albertan Association for Community Living with the Inclusive Education Award for their hard work in the past 2 years.
It's the schools and the teachers, and they do such a great job of helping and supporting all our children in the classroom. And the best is yet to come. We know that, and we look forward to it. So yeah, it's a journey.
In Bonnyville, Clayton Brown, Newcap News.
Relay for Life is right around the corner, and participating teams are gearing up to collect donations for the event. And our RCMP are getting in on the action as well. They were grilling up burgers for a good cause this afternoon. Megan Willis has more.
A barbecue was held in an attempt to raise funds for the event. Corporal Alana Jardine says the RCMP is participating for several reasons.
I can't imagine anybody whose life hasn't been touched in some way by cancer, and another because as members of the community, we like to be involved in our community.
Relay for Life takes place next Friday with all funds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.
Last year we raised about $900 and we'd really like to do about the same amount again this year.
This is the 5th time the RCMP has participated in Relay for Life and is holding this barbecue in attempts to raise last-minute funds before the event takes place next week.
Everyone is welcome to take part in the non-competitive 12-hour fundraiser to help fight cancer and raise awareness.
A lot of the members come out and participate. It's a great cause. We always get great participation by the members. And it's something that we all actually look forward to every year.
The RCMP hope their contribution will help make a difference.
It's a great cause, and cancer, unfortunately, it touches all of us in some direct or indirect manner. And this is our little part to help combat that.
To donate or learn more about Relay for Life, you can visit their website at www.relayforlife.ca. Megan Willis, Newcap News.
Mornings on Lloyd FM will sound a little bit different beginning next week. Kurt Price has been the morning show host for more than a decade, but he's moving off air to take on the role as program director for Newcap Radio Alberta East. Now, Kim Smith caught up with him this morning to see how he was feeling about the change.
She went on to become a doctor. I waited.
Maybe she should have got the whole scholarship.
I waited several years, then went into radio.
After 13 years behind the mic, 11 of those as host of Lloyd in the Morning, Kurt Price says he's tried to create a show where he could just be himself.
I've always tried to bring my personality to the show. And for someone to compliment me by saying you sound like you do in real, when we're talking, you sound exactly the same on the air, is a real big compliment to me because I want to bring that to the air.
Not only has Kurt connected with listeners over the airwaves, but he's also been heavily involved in the community.
He's just so driven to make this community a better place to live and want to be a part of, from his initiatives in relation to Downtown Day with Santa Claus to just his community spirit and wanting to be involved in every aspect of the community.
He's done more than just be Kurt Price running around doing it. He's brought Newcap into the forefront as a caring partner with the community.
Kurt says one of his most memorable times on air was when 35-year-old Lloydminster resident Donna Moore passed away when the festival stage collapsed at the Big Valley Jamboree in 2009.
But something good came from, we raised a whole bunch of money for her children. And I remember going on air with Johnny Reed, and I remember going on air with Tracy Hutchinson when that happened. So we've done a lot of fun things on the air, but that's probably the one that I'll remember the most.
Kurt is known for his annual April Fool's prank.
When we imploded the parkade, that was a blast. When we had the mayor come in and change the name of the city from Lloydminster to Lloydminster.
And he knows what's important to the community.
But I think more than anything, that when we had a storm, when we would have problems, people knew they could call into the morning show, and the morning show would coordinate that information.
I'm already a little bit emotional when it comes to thinking back on some of the things that we've done.
Kurt will now be the program director for 7 Newcap radio stations in our region.
This is an exciting opportunity for Kurt. We're looking forward to him stepping into this new role and taking that leadership that he's developed over these years and relaying and transferring that information down and helping these new announcers develop their roots in these communities as well.
I'm really going to miss my listeners the most, even though I'm not going away, staying in Lloyd. I still have this feeling like I'm almost leaving a family.
Kim Smith, Newcap News.
In Ag News now, the weather has cooperated lately and significant seeding has taken place over the last few days. Most farmers are now well into their seeding. Gal Galver has more in this week's Ag Report.
According to the latest crop report, Saskatchewan farmers have made a lot of progress over the past week. Favorable weather conditions have allowed producers to get going and up to speed. About 27% of the 2013 crop is now seeded, compared to just 8% last week.
For the most part, everything has been quite typical, regardless of what everyone expected. It just a little slower in getting into the fields, and I suppose a little more runoff than usual, but everything seems to be fairly normal.
Sean takes care of the majority of the seeding for the Reese farm and says for the most part, he hasn't had to make any adjustments to the seeding process.
We've basically just been going with what we typically seed on a normal year. The canola we're using A little bit different maturing types of canola, just to meet the season and whatnot.
The hope is that the dry, warm weather will hold up for a little bit longer.
The warm, dry conditions until everyone gets all the seed in the ground and then bring on the rain.
Kyle Gallagher, Newcap News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Center. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Center with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
Ottawa's threatening retaliatory measures in response to new American regulations on country of origin labeling for meat. Washington is out with rules to track beef and hogs from livestock right through the processing and distribution systems. Ottawa is saying the system would be costly, burdensome, and lead to the disintegration of the North American supply chain. And both Ottawa and the World Trade Organization are saying the rules are discriminatory.